Hello and welcome to the Mid-Range Jimbo Show. I'm Austin.
And I'm Michael. And if you'd like to hear about basketball content, well, stay tuned because we're going to be talking about whether the rookie contract extensions were worth it or if they're overpaid. So if you like it, drop a like and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. First off, we have Donovan Mitchell. He got the max extension off of his rookie contract, which it also has some incentives, like if he makes All NBA to jump to 190 some
Yeah, I
million.
believe that's how all of them are because they're
Yeah.
all about like 5 year, 163 million
Mhm.
with incentives in there to get up to like the $193 million
Yeah.
range.
But I mean, Donovan Mitchell, we have the stats from his first 3 years up here, and I feel like stats don't quite tell the whole story because in his rookie year, it took him what, like a dozen games to end up being a starter,
Oh yeah.
and I mean, he just took off from there. He led the Jazz to the playoffs in his rookie
Yep, and
year.
then he bounced the Russell Westbrook, Paul George, Carmelo Anthony big three out of
That's
the playoffs in the first round.
not much of a big three,
No,
but
but he did that to them
yeah.
as a rookie, which was we all knew that he had big things coming. If
Mhm.
this is what he was able to do in his rookie season.
Yeah, and I remember his second season, he kind of took a step back. I mean, you can kind of see his shooting splits weren't quite as good. A lot of people were just like, "Oh yeah, he's just a volume scorer," which is fairly true. But I
Yeah,
feel like he has developed his game a little bit. You don't really see it in like the assist numbers or anything, but like I feel like he's a better ball handler and playmaker
he is.
now.
When he came into the league, I feel like he was a pure shooting guard, whereas now he's
Mm.
more of a combo guard type,
Yeah,
like a D'Angelo Russell kind of.
yeah. I still feel like he needs work on his defense though.
Oh, very true. But I mean, he's of course with his defense, it's very overshadowed and mitigated by the fact that he's on such a superb defensive team with a
Hmm.
guy like Rudy Gobert, who's a
Yeah.
two-time Defensive Player of the Year recipient.
Kind of how I've thought of it is kind of like Isaiah Thomas in the Celtics. Granted, Mitchell's not nearly the black hole that Isaiah Thomas is
No,
on
not at all.
defense, but just having good defenders around you, good team defense, that's gonna hide one player's poor defensive skill set.
Yeah, definitely. It's with Donovan Mitchell, his output with scoring it outweighs the defensive end where he's allowing 10 points, but he's scoring like 20 on the other end, so it's not as big of a deal.
Yeah. So next we have Jason Tatum, and I mean, same thing for Donovan Mitchell. It's a max rookie extension. I mean, he's kind of in the same boat as Donovan Mitchell. I mean, like basically out of the gate, everybody knew like, hey, this kid's gonna be a star.
Yeah, I feel like everyone felt that because like he came to the league and he was shooting 43% from deep,
Yeah.
where in college he never did that. No one knows what happened there. Like he just went on this tear, and of course playing with like Kyrie Irving at the time and stuff like
Hmm.
that probably really helped him on the court. At least I don't know about off the court with Kyrie. He can be a bit sus sometimes,
Yeah.
but I do think Tatum did kind of have a sophomore slump and
A little bit.
I
Yeah.
do remember Tatum saying part of it was because his son was born that year, so he had to stay up late with his son and stuff like that,
Yeah.
which kind of affected his game and stuff like that.
So even though he did kind of have a sophomore slump, he's still like he looked better than he did in his rookie season. Like he looked more polished with his moves and stuff. And like, yeah, he didn't shoot as efficiently, but like, I mean, you have to expect some sort of growing pains with players like this.
Right.
But like every year he's looked more and more polished.
Yeah, and I think with especially in that sophomore season, of course you had like the drama. There was a lot of drama with
Hmm.
Kyrie, stuff
Yeah,
like that, which
yeah,
was a big problem. And of course, last year being the focal point of the offense now
yeah,
after Kyrie leaving, he really stepped up his game and really showed that like he can lead a team and be that guy. And he has a great running mate in Jalen Brown. They're both going to be like these. I feel like Celtics lifer types.
I hope so.
Yeah, I really think they could be those kind of players and maybe win a few championships along the way in a Celtics uniform.
Yeah, and the I think the biggest thing for me is Tatum's defense. how much it's grown over the years, just how much better he's gotten at it. Granted, he's not an all defensive guy,
Oh no,
but he still provides pretty good wing defense,
he
which
does.
is fantastic to see from a young player.
Yeah, he does. And then Jalen Brown, I feel like he can be an all defensive
Yeah.
type of player. So you have two guys like that who are I won't consider Tatum lockdown, whereas
Mhm.
I think Brown can be really locked down, but Tatum's still a really good defender.
Next, we have Bam Adebayo. Again, max rookie extension. He's the last max rookie that we're going to be talking about today. And obviously, he's worth it. I
Oh.
mean, just seeing the progression year to year, obviously, he had that big leap this past season, but just the Miami Heat, they've done a great job developing Bam.
They have, and I feel like they could do that with Precious Achua as well, because
Yeah.
he's looked pretty good in the minutes I've seen him play. Like I watched him play on Christmas, dude looks really
Mhm.
talented. And obviously with Bam, it's his minutes increased significantly between 18 and 19 and 19-20 season.
Yeah.
He was getting 10 more minutes a game, which obviously is going to result into better stats most of the
Yeah.
time for a player. But we didn't expect this big of a jump, I don't think, from him
No, I
to
don't.
be this double guy who can also average 5 assists
Mhm.
as a center, whereas the only other center you can really think of that could do that is a Jokic type of player.
Yeah. Well, I mean, don't forget, Andre Drummond has gotten close to that in assists. If not, he has gotten it. I feel like Domantas Sabonis, even though does he really even count as a center?
I don't think so because Turner's there. He's there locked for
Yeah,
center. Delmon's more of a 4. He's definitely a 4 who can play
yeah,
5, but
yeah.
I prefer him at 4 because his defense
But
isn't up to par.
even then, he's another big man who can average 5 assists. But uh, that's not a knock on his playmaking or anything, because obviously Bam's a good
Oh, he
playmaker.
very much is, and I mean I've seen games where he's the focal point of the offense, taking the ball up the floor off of defensive
Mhm.
rebounds, stuff like that.
And it's not even just his playmaking, it's his ball handling as well, because he's grabbing a rebound and then taking it down the court, which, I mean, that's starting to become the norm for big men in the NBA, which personally, I love that.
Oh yeah, that's a great way for the league to go because the league now is efficient shots.
Mhm.
It's not taking the most shots, it's taking the best shots. And transition is usually a really good place to get easy points because it's transition and you can get mismatches so much easier on the transition end of things. Like you get Bam pulling down rebound and just running and he can pass it. Oh, I got Duncan Robinson open for a corner 3-pointer.
Yeah.
That's cash every time. I got Tyler Hero somewhere. Jimmy Butler another spot on the court. It's just so much better when you have a guy like Bam who can do stuff like that on the court.
And not even to mention the playoffs, like he's a playoff performer.
Yeah, he was definitely can't remember who said this, but they said for the whole Eastern Conference, Bam would be Eastern Conference MVP.
Yeah,
Which is I think
I would
very
agree
true.
with that. Yeah,
He like that block on Tatum he had in I think it was
Oh, that's
game 1,
nice.
man.
Yeah.
That's all time right there. That's
Yeah.
going down all time blocks.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't think that's as good as the LeBron block.
Oh no,
but
that nothing can beat that.
yeah. But I mean, this contract's easily worth it for Bam. And next we have Jonathan Isaac, which this one is really a tough one to try and figure out because he's had 2 big injuries back to back.
Yep, I think with John Isaac, it's like Michael was just saying, it's health for him.
Mhm.
Because if he's healthy, this contract is a really good contract.
Yeah, if he's healthy, this contract is a steal, in my opinion.
Exactly, it's very true. It's just can he stay healthy? Because the dude, he what was his knee issue before his ACL tear? It was like a hyperextension or something
Yeah,
like
it was
that.
something like that.
And then he tears his ACL right after that when he comes back.
Yeah,
It's
a part of me feels like that was connected, and maybe you tried to rush back or something. And I don't really know. I mean, I'm not a team doctor or anything.
right.
Only those guys really know. But you just have to hope that he gets healthy because the trajectory that he was on, I mean, he's going to be a defensive player of the year
Oh yeah,
if
definitely.
he keeps going on that path.
He just feels like one of those players who can do it, and then if he develops an offensive game, could be an amazing two-way player. Because I've always kind of felt like John Isaac kind of falls into an Andre Kirilenko type,
A
like an
little
art
bit, yeah.
type, I guess is the best
Yeah.
way to put it, where he can put up like a 5x5, stuff like
Yeah.
that. I think he has that type of potential to do
Oh,
things
yeah.
like that.
That seems kind of weird comparing Isaac and Kirilenko. I never really thought of that, but I mean that's like a perfect comparison.
Yeah, I
Because
really think it is.
I mean, Jonathan Isaac, I don't even think he really needs to develop too much of an offensive game. Obviously, if he does, I mean, I don't even know what his ceiling would be.
Yeah,
But like all he really needs to do is be able to shoot about league average, which he's getting close to. I mean,
definitely.
34 is just a couple points lower than league average, but it's enough to where they have to respect you.
Exactly, especially from the corners.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and they need floor spacing with Jonathan Isaac because their main focal point on offense, Vucevic, he's not really spacing the floor that
Yeah.
well. I mean, he can hit
He
threes. I'll give him
can,
credit for it, but he'd much rather play in the post than,
Oh, yeah.
than be out on the perimeter.
And I mean, I really hope he comes back healthy. If he comes back healthy, this contract is a steal, in my opinion.
100%.
And next we have Luke Kennard. Speaking of health, he really struggles with staying healthy. Being a Pistons fan, I know that he has knee tendonitis, which is a recurring injury.
Yep.
Basically, it's nothing that you can completely get healthy. It's just something that you kind of have to deal with.
Right, exactly. And with Luke Kennard, he's kind of one of those weird players where I think it's a big part he played in Detroit, so of course he's not going to get a lot of attention as a player.
Yeah.
But he's kind of gone under the radar as a player already in his career.
Oh, yeah.
I think people are going to most remember him in 20 years for being the guy drafted right before Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, I can easily see that because I know a lot of Pistons fans are, after his rookie year, were super disappointed that they didn't take Donovan Mitchell. But if you ask me, Luke Kennard, while he's not Donovan Mitchell, I think he can do things better than Donovan Mitchell can because, yeah, he's not the volume scorer that Donovan Mitchell is, but I believe he's a more efficient shooter. And, I mean, I think that pretty much just makes him like a better offensive player as long as he's not taking the majority of shots.
Right, exactly. He's not a volume scorer in any sense of the word, but when he shoots it efficiently. He shoots it better than most. I mean, you look at his 3-point percentage from last year, it's almost 40%.
Yeah.
Like 45 and 40. That's good shooting splits right there.
And not to mention, he can also handle the ball a little bit. It's not like he's just some Duncan Robinson type who can't put the ball on the floor.
Right, yeah. I mean, Luke Kennard, his playmaking as a whole is very underrated. I mean, last year, just as you can see here, he averaged 4 assists. Just decent amount for a player like him, who we all think is more of a Duncan
shooter.
Robinson, Landry Shamet, JJ Redick type, who just run off screens and shoot, which Luke Kennard does do. Yeah,
he
can
runs
also
off screens,
put the ball on the floor.
And I mean, I really like Luke Kennard. I was sad to see him go from the Pistons, but having him on the Clippers team, I think that's actually a pretty good fit for him.
Yeah.
I haven't been happy so far with the amount of touches that he's got, but I haven't really watched too many Clippers games, so I don't really know.
I mean, as we're recording this, they're currently getting slaughtered, and I mean slaughtered by the Mavericks.
Yeah. But I mean, Luke Kennard, he's a good player. I guess just to have him live up to this contract, he'd need to be healthy, and then I think it'd absolutely be worth it.
Oh, 100%, especially if he can be one of those valuable pieces on a contending championship level team, which I think the Clippers are.
Yeah. And finally, we have Markelle Fultz, which this one, I mean, with Jonathan Isaac and Luke Kennard, we talked about health. Markelle Fultz, it's on another level because in his NBA career, he only has just over 100 games played in 3 seasons. Which, I mean, obviously looking at that, you wonder like, oh man, he must have been injured a lot and stuff like that if you don't know the story. Obviously, everybody knows the story.
Yeah.
But this past season, I mean, he really took the step forward, and we have to hope that he keeps going in that direction.
Because the thing with Markelle is with his rookie season with that injury, we've never seen anything like that in the history of basketball, where It felt like he forgot what he was doing on the court. Like he
Yeah.
just didn't know what he was doing anymore. And it's so weird to think that something like that happened to a number one overall pick, which
Yeah.
Markelle Fultz is. I
Yeah.
think a lot of people just forget that anymore, and it's only been
Yeah.
3 years.
But I mean, I like Markelle Fultz. I think he can still be a solid player. I really hope he keeps improving on what he did last year. 3 years, 50 million. I think he can live up to it. Um, but I think the biggest thing for us is if he keeps improving, this is going to be an absolute steal of a contract
Oh,
for the next couple of years.
Yeah, if he just keeps improving, like imagine him as like a 20 point per game score with
Yeah,
on good efficiency. Well, at least from not from three.
decent
Yeah, because
efficiency.
obviously he's not a very good 3 point shooter.
Yeah,
But good efficiency, he's going to grab a couple rebounds a game. Also average maybe like at that point in time 8 assists a game too.
yeah,
That'd be a really really good contract to have
Yeah.
a $3 or $50 million guy who does that on the floor. That's awesome.
which there is an option in the third year. There's options in all of these contracts. We haven't mentioned that. There's usually options. In
Yeah,
contracts
there
anyway.
usually always is, and it's
Um,
it's weird to get into all the logistics of
Yeah.
contracts. That's a whole different thing to do.
But just for 2 years, if he keeps improving for those 2 years, I wonder what type of payday he would be up for. Just because of his history, but him showing what he can do, I wonder if teams would still be hesitant on it. Obviously, I think that's why the Magic went with only a 3 year contract instead of doing 4 years. Because I mean, per year he is making more money than Luke Kennard, and if you ask me, out of the two, I'd rather have Luke Kennard.
Definitely, it's one of those just weird situations where, I mean, we look at it here. Last year he played 72 games. That's really
Yeah.
good after not even playing 20 his first 2 years in the league.
Yeah,
Up to 72. If he can play like, let's say 75 games the next 2 years each year.
well, he's not going to play 75 games this year.
Oh,
There's not
that's-
that many in the
That's
schedule.
true, yeah. If he plays like 72 this
Yeah.
year, 75 next year, I think teams will look at it and be like, he's healthy, like he's good
Yeah.
to go now, and he could get a really nice contract out of
Mhm.
it.
I think ideally, the Magic would like to hold on to him because I think he's a part of their future. But if he kind of breaks out over these next couple of years, I could see some big market teams trying to take a run at him because he has a little bit of name recognition because he's Markelle Fultz. He was the number one overall pick, and if he's actually starting to become good, I think some bigger teams will look at him.
Yeah, he could definitely be a quality piece on a contending team at some point in his career. It just all depends on health.
Yeah. So we want to thank you guys for watching. If you agree with us, let us know. If you disagree, also let us know. We'd like to see what other people think about our ideas and whatnot. But I want to thank you guys for watching. If you liked it, go ahead and drop a like and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it.